Well then, uh, that's over now. Hello everybody, this is Dr. Senpai, and I feel slightly depressed because Game of Thrones is over, but it's not over for the good reasons. It's kind of over for not the bad, but the disappointing reasons. Because, goddamn, Season 8 was so fucking disappointing. Where do I begin? Let's talk about the finale first. So, the finale aired last night on Sunday. The problem with it is just based on last week's episode. I have to say, last week's episode 5, The Bells, the one where Daenerys, burn them all, was maybe one of the worst episodes ever of the series. Holy shit. There's so much rush. That's just also this season's big issues. Just so much goddamn rushing. And that's very apparent in the finale. They just rushed the shit out of a lot of stuff because they only had 6 episodes left. And I don't know who to blame, either the writers or whatnot, even though the writing was pretty mediocre this season for some characters. I don't know. We just got all that at the end where basically it was also just fucking predictable, at least to me. I fucking knew Daenerys was going to get killed by Jon Snow. I fucking knew that. And it happened. Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Shit. My bad. But yeah, spoiler alert. Fucking Jon Snow kills Daenerys in her throne room, and I was kind of expecting this too. The dragon, Drogon, whatever the fuck his name. Yeah, it's Drogon shit, yeah. That one burns the Iron Throne to fucking just melts it. And that's done. So I was like, oh, okay. That's a pretty neat shot. I'll actually like that shot. That's one thing I'll say too about this season. Beautiful cinematography. You can't deny that. Cinematography was fucking beautiful. And I really like that. That was a good shot. But otherwise, then they just kind of skip 2 weeks and Bran becomes the king of the 7 or 6 realms. Whatever. Yeah, so they basically established a democracy where the people vote for the new king or queen of the Westeros, and they're like, oh, Bran is a storyteller. And I was like, I have to actually have to say, I think Tyrion finally gave something good when he started speaking instead of dumb shit about, she's our queen, and then you're like, oh, he kills your brother and sister, and now you're all like, fuck the queen. Now all of a sudden it's like, this bitch was going to kill people. You should know this. And it's just, then they just decide, oh, Bran should be the king, which, I'm a little mixed on that. A lot of people didn't like that, but I'll have to say, I think it was kind of a good choice because I feel like Bran needed to do something after just the lackluster Night King and the Long Night just came and just went by. That shit, a part of the season, was just terrible. They just fucking killed off the Night King. Just really disappointing. So he had nothing else to do. I just wish, I'm glad they did something where he still gets to live. He just doesn't become the three-eyed raven and sits in a fucking tree for 1,000 years. That would really suck. He still has his powers, but at least he's doing something. So, you know what? It's fine. And then they establish order. What makes no sense is they somehow rebuilt every single thing in King's Landing immediately after 2 weeks or whatnot. It's like, okay, that fucking happened. But I don't know. And then Jon Snow, pretty much being half Targaryen means absolutely nothing anymore. Everything they just been kind of hyping up for Jon Snow. Jon Snow overall has just been fucking ruined this season. He's never questioned, because, what I loved about Jon Snow in the past is just how much of Ned was in him. He was just so much Ned Stark, even though he's related to him, but he's not like his son or anything. They're just so well related within each other that he would always defend his honor and just, defend certain things, stand up to certain things he doesn't feel is right. I think it kind of makes sense why he would sleep with Daenerys at first, because oh shit, he didn't know that was his aunt and all that. But then when he discovers that is his aunt, wouldn't he be questioning okay, this isn't right? Because he never grew up around incest. No one in the Stark family was born out of fucking incest, I don't think. But Then he's all like, oh, I want to keep fucking Dany all the time. And it's my aunt. It's like, what the fuck? That's a Lannister thing. I don't know. I felt that was just written fucking retarded. And just, Jon's arc is just overall unsatisfying to me. He just goes back to the Night's Watch, which I don't know how, they never explain how that's still established or why they even need a Night's Watch anymore. They don't need a fucking Night's Watch anymore. It's been around for thousands of years to protect against one goddamn thing, the fucking White Walkers, and they're gone now. So what there's left to protect? The wildlings? No. All the wildlings are at the wall. So why did they need to say, oh, just send them to the Night's Watch? And I don't think they're even the Night's Watch anymore. They just went off to the forest. I was like, seriously? God. I don't know. That was just really fucking dumb. Daenerys, I kind of saw what was coming with her, obviously. I thought it was pretty obvious that she was going to burn the shit out of everything. She was just going to become the fucking Mad Queen. Because, she's just like her father. It's been hinted at many times. I felt like she should have just stayed in Marine. Or whatever. Just overall, the season was just, God, I don't know. Episode 4 was pretty neat. It wasn't that bad. With episode 4, it was just kind of like a sit down. Besides the Starbucks cup, I'm aware of the Starbucks cup. That shit was stupid. I believe that too. But, it was just whatever. That happened. And I was like, alright, that's pretty neat. Episode 1 and 2 were actually pretty good. Those were the ones with a lot of callbacks to season 1, which I really appreciated. And we actually got Clegane Bowl. People who are aware of the Game of Thrones memes, we got Clegane Bowl. Clegane Bowl, fucking hype, and I really liked that fight. That was an excellent fight. Okay, it was. I think they did not even butcher the Hound's arc at all. Like, the Hound had a really solid character arc throughout the series. They didn't butcher his whatsoever. He stayed being the Hound, and he died being the Hound. In fact, he died in the worst ways he could possibly imagine, which is dying in fire, the one thing he hates, and he fucking fought the Mountain, who was pretty much confirmed half dead. He was a fucking zombie. I was just wondering what the hell was going on there. And they fought a lot. I was like, oh shit, that's pretty dope. So that came to a satisfying conclusion. Although that's all I can pretty much say about the season, I actually came to a satisfying conclusion, was fucking the Clegane Bowl. That was really great. Otherwise, just a lot of people just got lackluster arcs. I mean, I expected them to do a little bit more of Sansa, I guess, but she just I kind of figured she was just going to become queen of the North. And I was like, cool. And I guess the North is an independent state now, so that's cool. Kind of already expected that. Nothing really changed with Sansa. She never met really a good king or anyone who would actually take care of her. That's like, the dude instead of like assholes like Joffrey or Ramsay. Something satisfying where she would actually love somebody. Nope. Just kind of got fucked over. I don't know what the hell they do with Gendry. I think he's still Lord of Storm's End for House Baratheon. Probably, that would make sense. He probably would be. I think Bran would do that. What the hell was that? That scared the shit out of me. But Bran's the king. They did something. I just felt like, God, Arya, plot armor. She basically also didn't really get to do much either. She killed the Night King. That's about it, really, this season, and fucked Gendry, pretty much. But her arc is just essentially this: I'm gonna go travel. What's west of Westeros? Nobody knows. I'm gonna go travel now. Like, really, they do that shit all the time, where they just have characters travel. They have nothing to do with Arya, so they just make her go fucking travel. Really? Whatever. I don't know. It was just, jeez. The overall, Game of Thrones had a pretty satisfying, good 1 through 6 or 7 I like some parts of season 7, even though I can understand why that's kind of where the downfall went of Game of Thrones. But overall, I had a really great time watching the other seasons. I got my family involved in watching it. We had so many discussions, and it's seriously one of my favorite memories of a show. That's why it's like my favorite live action show still. Not one season's going to ruin it for me, which a lot of people on the internet, it's really not, it's horrible. It's like, the whole show is just the worst thing ever. It's always been bad. That makes no sense if people have been hyping it up for years and just liking the other stuff. Because the other seasons legitimately were good. Okay? I'm not going to say when and where is terrible, but I really liked the show those other times. And, you know, it kind of sucks, but I got a good few seasons of TV out of it. That's all I got to say. I guess this is just a lesson for certain TV shows that not every TV show is going to last forever and be amazing. Unfortunately, I think this always happens. This is pretty much what happened with The Walking Dead, which I think is still worse than Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones could have got there, but Game of Thrones overall is just more disappointing than fucking horrific, god-awful compared to anything. And I think it really helps that like season 8 or some other seasons didn't really have the books to go off of. And I think creative, you know, thinking creatively and doing stuff creatively on your own way instead of having to follow one big source material could work, except the source material ended up being better, and that's what made the other seasons better, adapting the show. It's kind of the problem with like Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood's fucking amazing, while, in my opinion, mind you, Full Metal Alchemist 2003 was not as good. It's an okay show, not terrible, but just not as good in that fashion, because that show, the 2003 show, didn't have the rest of the manga to adapt, and I felt that really hurt it a lot. And Brotherhood got the full manga treatment, which is really nice. So I think Game of Thrones could have benefited from something like that. Just like follow the source material and just stick with that. But unfortunately, I kind of understand where they were coming from with Season 8, where they kind of have to meet a certain deadline and pump out the show at the time. But I just wish we could have gotten a longer season. And no, dipshits who signed that petition to rewrite Season 8, yes, I'm calling you a dipshit, because you're a fucking dipshit. They're not going to rewrite Season 8. It's fucking over. Get over it. It's you have a right to be mad and disappointed, but it's over at this point. Man, I haven't even watched this show for many, many years. And I got it done in like a few months. But God, I definitely felt the disappointment in this one. What do you guys think in the comments? Let me know below. Leave a like and subscribe. And hope everyone gets through this, because damn, that was really depressing.